In this session, we will discuss about the trigonometry, and this will be the first session on the trigonometry as well. When we are discussing about the trigonometry, it is actually based on the measuring of the angles. When we are having the measurements, then we can have the measurements for length, height, area, volume likewise. But apart from measuring the length, height, or the area, volume likewise, we can have the measures on a point. It means that we can consider the measures. It is quite like measuring the angles. Therefore, when you are going to measure the angles, then we have to think about the concepts are developed based on the measuring of the angles the trigonometry is based on. Therefore, when you are going to discuss about the trigonometry, as the first part, you have to learn about the angles first. When we are going to discuss about the trigonometry, I told you previously as well, when we are measuring the angles, we have to deal with the concepts of the trigonometry. But prior to discussing about trigonometry, first we will have a look about the measuring of the angles. When we are going to measure the angles, in generally, we are using the degree measures to measure the angle. We are generally use the degree measures. It is quite like if you have given an angle, suppose that this is the point you are having, and this is the angle you are asked to measure, then using a suitable measuring instrument, then you can have the value for these angles. If it is theta, then you may say that okay, if I measure it, then I can say that theta is equal to 32 degrees. Therefore, generally we are using the degree measures to generally we are use the degree measures to measure the angles. But apart from these degree measures, there is another method called the measuring the angles using the radians. But in the mathematics, generally uh, the rather than using the degrees, we tend to use it in the radian measures. Therefore, first we have to identify about the having an idea behind or having the relationship between the radian and the degrees. Therefore, first we'll look about what is the actual relationship between the radian and the degrees. When we are going to look about or discuss about the relationship between the radian and degrees, we generally say that this 180 degrees is equal to 5 radians. We are denoting this degree by this notation, and to denote the radian we are using this notation, these letters had to denote the radius. Therefore, this is the connection or the relationship between the degrees and radians. If you are consider a circle, then if you are consider the center point, then we know that the angle for this circle, it is equal to 360 degrees. Therefore, when you are consider a circle, if you are measure this angle, this will be now equal to 2 times 5 radians. Therefore, uh, based on this, we can identify that the relationship between, if you are considering the 180 degrees, then it will equal to 5 radians. It will equal to 5 radians. Therefore, what we can do is, now we can since we know about the relationship between the radian and degrees, then if you have given an angle with the degree measures, you should be able to convert it into radian measures, and vice versa as well. Okay, now we'll look about how we can form this conversion, or how to form this converting this radian into degrees as well as the degrees into radians. Okay, now the relationship that you know regarding the radian and degrees is, if you are having 180 degrees, if you are having 180 degrees, then we know that this is equal to 5 times for the 5 radians. Therefore, what we can do is, if you are having an angle theta, if you are having an angle theta in degrees, you can use this relationship to convert it into radians. Therefore, based on this calculation, what we can do is we can have one value for 1 degree measure. Therefore, if it say that this 180 degrees is equal to 5 radians, then we can say that 1 degree is equal to 5 divided by 180 radians. Therefore, we can take that 1 degree is equal to 5 divided by 180 radians. Therefore, if you are having the angle as theta, suppose that you are having an angle as theta, it is given in degrees, and if you need to convert it into radians, what we can do is we can multiply this quantity simply with theta. It is because we know that 1 degree is equal to 5 over 180 radius. Therefore, theta times 5 over 180 radians will be equal to the angle with the theta degrees. Therefore, if you need to convert the degree measures into radians, then you can use this equation. This is used to converting the degrees into radians. Degrees to radians, we can say it is equals to theta times 5 over 180 radians. Therefore, as an example, if I take, if you suppose that if you need to have an idea regarding this 90 degrees, suppose that if you are having the 90 degrees, then you need to convert into uh, how many radians is the equivalent radian value. Therefore, what we can do is, we know that if it is 1 degree, then it is equal to 5 over 180 radians. Therefore, this 90 degree, this can be considered as the 90 times instead of 1 degree, we can say it as 5 over 180 radians. Therefore, if you are having the 90 degree angle, then it will be equal to, if you cut off this, then you will be get this as 5 divided by 2 times radius. Therefore, 90 degree angle is equal to 5 divided by 2 radians. Therefore, similar manner, if I take another example on this matter, if I ask about to calculate this 45 degrees, then an equivalent radian angle, then we can do this as, here we are having 45, then 1 degree is equal to 5 over 180. Therefore, if this is cancelled out, then we'll get this as 5 divided by 4 radians. 5 divided by 4 radians. Therefore, this is the way that we are using. And if I use some other angle, it is quite as 120 degrees. If it is 120 degrees, then I will get this as, it is 120 into 5 over 180 radians. Therefore, if you cancel out, then you will be get this as 2 times 5 over 3. If you cancel out with the 0 to 0, then this can be cancelled out with 2, and this can be cancelled out with 3. That is why we are getting this as, this 120 degrees equals to 25 over 3 radians. Therefore, this is the way that we are converting the degree measures into the radians. Now we will move for the next one. It is the converting radians into degrees. Now we will go to in the other way around. If you are going to convert the radians into degrees, what you can use is, we can say radians to degrees. Then we can use this as the reciprocal of this 5 over 180 multiplied with this theta to have this conversion. It is quite like this. Here what we are going to do is, we are going to have the conversion of the, if you are having the radians, now we are going to convert it into the degree measures. Therefore, what we know is, we know that 5 radians 5 radians is equal to 180 degrees. Therefore, if you divide both sides by 5, then I will get this value for 1 radian. It will be equal to 180 over 5 degrees. Therefore, this is the relationship if you are going for the conversion radians to degrees. Then we can use this conversion. If it is theta radians, suppose that you are having the angle as theta, and if it is measured in radians, then this would be equal to theta times 180 divided by 5 degrees. It is because 1 radian is equal to 180 over 5. Therefore, to calculate the theta radians, you need to multiply this quantity with theta. Therefore, if I take several examples on this matter, if I take this, here it is 5 over 6. Here I am having 5 over 6 radians. Then what we can do is we can convert this into degrees. Instead of theta, now we are having the value as 5 over 6. Instead of theta, we have to substitute the angle which is given. Then it has to be multiplied with the 1 radian equality. It is 1 radian equals to 180 over 5 degrees. Therefore, you get this as 180 over 5 degrees. This will be cancelled out, and then you will be getting this as 30 degrees. If I take another example on this matter, here it is 5 divided by 4 radians. Then we can do the same thing. 5 divided by 4 is the value we are having, value for theta, and 1 radian is equal to 180 degrees divided by 5. Then this will be cancelled out, and you will be getting this value 180 divided by 4 itself equals to 45 degrees. Likewise, if I take another example on this matter, here I will take this as 3 5 over 2. If I take this as 3 5 over 2, then my theta angle, here it is 3 5 divided by 2 times radians. Then this will be equals to, this is the angle we are having, it is 3 5 over 2. Then we have to multiply it with the 1 radian equality. It is equal to 180 degrees divided by 5. This will be cancelled out, and if you perform this multiplication with the suitable cancellation, then 2 cancel out with 180 as 90, then multiplied with 3 itself equals to 270 degrees. Therefore, this is how we are forming this radian to degree conversion. Previously, we have discussed about the degree to radian conversion. Now, we have discussed the radian to degree conversion. Okay, now this is how we are measuring the angles, and we are forming up this conversion from radian to degrees and degrees to radian, like vice versa. Therefore, now we will have an idea regarding the trigonometric ratios. We are defining the trigonometric ratios based on the right angle triangle. Therefore, when we are going to discuss about these trigonometric ratios, then we can have, this is the right angle triangle, and considering for this explanation, here what we are going to discuss is, we are going to defining the trigonometric ratios based on the right angle triangle. Therefore, if I discuss it here, suppose that you are having a right angle triangle. Suppose that you are having a right angle triangle, and then you are having this angle as theta. And here you have measure these sides as O, A, and H. Sides as O, A, and H. These are the uh, this these are the three sides we are naming: hypotenuse, then uh, the A is the side which is adjacent to the angle theta, and O is the uh, side which is opposite to the theta, and H stands for the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle. Therefore, what we can do is, these are the three basic trigonometric ratios we are defining. The sine theta value for sine, or the sine value of this theta angle can be simply obtained by taking these ratios. It is the opposite side divided by the length of the hypotenuse. Therefore, this can be taken as O divided by H. It is not 0, this is O. O divided by H gives us the value for sine theta. And if you are taking the value for the cosine theta, cosine theta can be obtained by the length of the adjacent side divided by the length of the hypotenuse. Therefore, we can take this cosine theta is equal to A divided by H. Therefore, cos theta, or generally it is cosine theta, but generally we are pronouncing it as cos theta, and cos theta can be obtained by dividing the length of the adjacent side divided by the length of the hypotenuse. And then we can obtain the value for the tan theta. Tan theta can be obtained by length of the opposite side divided by the length of the adjacent side. Therefore, this is how we are defining the basic trigonometric ratios. But apart from these three basic trigonometric ratios, we are going to consider about the reciprocal of these three trigonometric ratios. Therefore, we are defining altogether six trigonometric ratios. It is by taking the reciprocal of these trigonometric ratios. Therefore, if you consider about the cosec theta, if you consider about the cosec theta, this will be equal to reciprocal of the sine theta. This will be equal to reciprocal of sine theta. Therefore, reciprocal, if you are taking the reciprocal, this will be considered as h divided by O. It is simply the length of the hypotenuse divided by the length of the opposite side. And then if you are considering the reciprocal of the cosine theta, it is written as the sec theta, pronounced as sec theta, and written as this way. Then it will be equal to 1 over cosine theta. 1 over cosine theta, it is the reciprocal of this quantity. Then this will be equal to h divided by a. Then we are taking it as the tan theta. If you are considering the reciprocal of the tan theta, which is pronounced as cot theta and denoted in this way, cot theta, it is the reciprocal of the tan theta. Therefore, 1 over tan theta will be here. Then we have to take the reciprocal of this quantity, and it will be equal to a divided by O. Therefore, these are the three trigonometric identities, or we are identified as the reciprocal of the trigonometric ratios. Therefore, these are the very basic things, or very basic trigonometric ratios we are defining for the trigonometry. And here also these trigonometric identities were used here, and this cosec theta, sec theta, and cot theta, and thereafter I have defined the reciprocal identities as generally we are taking the reciprocal identities as the cosec theta, sec theta, and cot theta. But if you know about the value of this cosec theta by taking the reciprocal of cosec theta, sec theta, and cot theta, you can obtain the trigonometric ratios sine theta, cosine theta, and the tan theta respectively. Therefore, in the both ways you can obtain these reciprocals. If you are obtaining the reciprocal, generally we are obtaining the reciprocals of the sine, cosine, and tan theta as the cosec theta, sec theta, and cot theta respectively. Therefore, when you are taking these reciprocals, then generally we are writing this cosec theta. Sometimes this is denoted as CSC theta, even though this is denoted as CSC theta, this is pronounced as the cosec theta. It is for the cosec theta. Another notation we are using for denoting the cosec theta. Then we will discuss about the angles. Here we have discussed about the rate. Now we have finished the discussion of radian and degrees, and we have identified the trigonometric ratios based on a right angle triangle. And then we have had an idea regarding the reciprocal identities. We have discussed this part as well. Okay, now we will move for the several other values that we can obtain for the degrees. Here this table suggests the common values or the frequently using values that in the trigonometry, the angle 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90. These are the angles which are commonly used in trigonometry. Therefore, you can see the angle 30, angle 0, 30, 45, 60, and 45, 60, and 90. Therefore, these are the very basic or general angles or most commonly using angles. And we are denoting it as the radian measures as well for the easiness of familiarizing with these angles. Then the value for 0 degree, it is 0 exactly. Then 30, it is 5 over 6, 45, 5 over 4, 60, 5 over 3, 90. It will be radian 5 over 2. Therefore, this upper row is given by the radians. The first row values given by the radians, and the second row angles were given as the degree measures. Therefore, here these are the commonly using angles, and it's in the radian form as well as the degree form. The values were given, and these are the values that we can identify for the sine, theta, cosine, and the tangent of these provided angles. Therefore, here it is given as the theta, where theta equals 0, theta equals 0. Then we'll get the sine of this 0 or the sine theta equals 0. It is equal to 0. Therefore, if you are having the uh, angle as theta, then we'll get its sine or the theta equals 0. The value of sine 0 is equal to 0. And if you are taking the cosine, then it will be equals to 1. And if you are taking the tangent, you can take the we can take the tangent value as equal to again 0. Then we can have an idea for the angle 30. If it is 30 degrees, or else if it is 5 over 6, then in the radian measures, then we can have the sine for the sine 5 over 6 or sine 30 is equal to half. Then cosine 5 over 6 is equal to root 3 over 2, and this tangent 5 over 6 is equal to 1 over root 3. A similar manner, we can obtain the values for the sine, cosine, and tangent for these angles 5 over 4, 5 over 3, and 5 over 2. And the values are given in the table as here. And but once you come for the obtaining the value of the tangent theta, then you may identify this tangent 5 over theta is not defined. Here it is said as the undefined. And when we are discussing about the quotient identities, I will explain why we are getting it as undefined. Therefore, up to such time, just take this tangent of 5 divided by 2, we are taking it as undefined, or it is quite, we are taking this as infinity. Rather than saying this undefined, we'll write it as infinity. It is plus or minus infinity. Okay, now we'll have a look regarding the quotient identities, and thereafter I will explain about the quadrant rule. Okay, now if you are consider about the quotient identities, we can define the quotient identities in this way. As the quotient identities, we are defining only two identities. It is just to take the relationship between the sine, cosine, and tangent, as well as cosec, sec, and cot. Therefore, what we can take here is, here we can say that if you are taking the tan theta, then we can say that this tan theta can be obtained by taking the ratio between sine theta and cos theta. Therefore, we can take this quotient or this division. To get the value for tan theta, we can have it as the sine theta divided by cosine theta. If you perform this calculation, you may easily identify that the sine theta is equal to O divided by H. It is the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Then this has to be divided by the cosine theta. It is A divided by H. Therefore, we will take this as O divided by H multiplied with H divided by A. Cancel out, H is cancel out, then we'll get it as O divided by A, which itself equals to tan theta. Therefore, this is how we are proving this as a. Therefore, we can take one quotient identity. It is tan theta. It is equal to sine theta divided by cosine theta. And since we know that the reciprocal is exist for the tan theta, then we can obtain the reciprocal of this quotient as well, quotient identity as well. Therefore, we can take the quotient of the both sides. It will not make any harm. Therefore, the quotient, this reciprocal, not the quotient, it is the reciprocal of both sides. If you take the reciprocal of the left hand side, what it is, you will get it as 1 over tan theta itself equals to cot theta. Here you will get this as cot theta. Okay, if I do the calculation here, if you take the reciprocal, you will get it as 1 over tan theta, and for the right hand side, it will be 1 over sine theta over cosine theta. Therefore, once you take the reciprocal of both sides, then you will be able to take 1 over tan theta as cot theta. Then if you take the reciprocal of the quotient, then you will get this as the cosine theta divided by the sine theta. Therefore, these are the two quotient identities we are identifying. It is for the tan theta and the cot theta. And if you wish, you can have an equation based on the cosec and sec as well. Therefore, by taking this reciprocal separately, then we can consider its simply consider its this right hand side of this equation with the cosec and the sec theta values. Now we will have a look about this quadrant rule. The quadrant rule is just a concept which we are generally used to identify the sign, whether it is positive or negative. We are getting for the sine, cosine, and tangent based on these four quadrant of the circle. Here, what we are considering is it is quite like if you are considering the quadrant rule. We are considering about the quadrant rule. Here we will consider a unit circle first. Here if you are considering a circle, And suppose that if this is a circle, we can simply divide it into four parts. Therefore, if I take this from the center, you will get it as four exactly same parts. We will get four exactly same parts. Here we will name them as the quadrant one. It is because these are quarters. We can name them as the quadrants. Therefore, we'll name it as quadrant one, quadrant two, quadrant three, and the quadrant four. We are going it in the anticlockwise direction. Therefore, we'll get the four quadrants as one, 2, 3, and 4 in this way. And using this quadrant rule, we can identifying whether we are getting uh, plus sign or minus sign for the values which falls in these four quadrants for the sine theta, cosine theta, and the tangent. Therefore, for having an idea regarding the signs we can use this quadrant rule. Suppose that prior to discuss about this quadrant rule, if you are consider about the first quadrant, if you are consider about the first quadrant, we are getting the maximum angle as 90 degrees. Maximum angle as the 90 degrees. Then we may get it as the right angle maximum. It will be a right angle, or else moreover we'll get the acute angles in the first quadrant. Here we will start it from this as the zero line, and here we will take the value here is equal to 0. Therefore the angle is going in this way around. Therefore we can measure the angles this way around. If it is the point we are considering, then we have to measure the angles in this way around. Therefore, starting from 0, and you can go up to 90 degrees in the first quadrant. Therefore, if you consider about the first quadrant, then you will get the plus signs for all three. Therefore, you will get sine will be plus, cosine will be again plus, and tan will be again plus. Therefore, if you are having this angle, suppose that you are having the angle as theta in this way, suppose that this is 60 degrees, this is equal to, we'll get the sine 60 is a positive value, cosine 60 is also a positive value, and the tangent 60 is a positive value. Therefore, this is how we are getting the positive values. Therefore, instead of writing this sine as plus, cosine as plus, and tangent as plus, we tend to say that the all are plus signs. Therefore, rather than saying it as separately, saying them as plus signs, we attempt to say it as all are plus signs. Therefore, instead of writing these, we can simply say that all are having plus signs. That is why we are saying it as the all as the plus. And if you go for the second quadrant, in this it is for the in the first quadrant, we can say that sine is positive, cosine is positive, and tangent is positive. That is why we are saying that all are positive. But if you go for the second quadrant, you may identify that only the sine values are positive. Therefore, if you are having the angle which is greater than 90 but less than 180 degrees, then you will get such angle sine value as positive. Sine will be positive, but the cosine will be negative. In the second quadrant, sine will be positive, but the cosine will be negative. Therefore, If you take the ratio of sine and cosine, you can get the tangent. Therefore, it will be definitely negative. That is why we are getting only the sine as the positive, and that is why we are saying sine is positive. Therefore, all sine. Then if you consider about this third quadrant, for the third quadrant, we are getting the tan, only the tan is positive. Only tan is positive. Therefore, if you see about the other two ratios, in this third region, it is quite the angle which is greater than 180 degrees, but less than 270 degrees. It means that you are getting an angle, it is quite like this way. Therefore, now you can see that it is greater than 180 degrees, but less than 270 degrees. Therefore, this falls to the third quadrant. Therefore, in such situations, we can obtain the value for the tan theta if it is in the third quadrant. Therefore, we can use the quadrant rule. Therefore, tan will be only plus. It says that sine is negative. Cosine is also getting a negative value, but the only for the tangent you are getting a positive value. Therefore, if it is in the quadrant 3, you will get only the tan as the plus value. Therefore, in the first quadrant, all will be positive. In the second quadrant, sine will be positive. In the third quadrant, tan will be positive, and in the fourth quadrant, cosine will be positive. Therefore, if it is in the fourth quadrant, you can say that only the cosine will be positive. Therefore, you can say that sine will be negative, cosine will be positive, as well as the tan will be again negative. It is because the ratio between sine and cos gives the tangent value. Therefore, we can say only the cosine gives the positive in the fourth quadrant. Therefore, this is the quadrant. This is said to be the quadrant rule. Therefore, in the first quadrant, all the ratios here, we are not going to consider about any reciprocal ratio or this reciprocal of these ratios. Here we will just consider about the three basic trigonometric ratios we are considering here. Therefore, we can get this as if it is all, then we can say that in the first quadrant, sine is positive, cosine is positive, and tangent is positive. In the second quadrant, sine is positive, cosine is negative, tangent is negative. It means simply only the sine is positive. In the third quadrant, only the tan is positive. In the fourth quadrant, only the cosine is positive. Therefore, as an example, if you are giving an angle as 60 degrees, if it is 60 degrees, or I will take rather than saying 60, if I take it as 5 over 3 radians, we can simply identify its sign based on the quadrant rule. If you take the sine 5 over 3, cosine 5 over 3, and tangent 5 over 3. If you ask to obtain or identify their signs, then what you can do is 5 over 3. It is in between this 5 over 3. You can say that 5 over 3 is in between. It is less than 5 over 2, less than 5 over 2, and it is greater than 0. Therefore, it is in the first quarter or the first quadrant. Therefore, sine, you will get a positive. For the cosine 5 over 3, again it will be positive. For tangent 5 over 3, again it will be positive. Therefore, using the quadrant rule, you can identify it. As another example, I will take it as 2 5 over 3. If it is 2 5 over 3 radians, first you need to identify actually where this is located. Here it is 2 5 over 3. 2 5 over 3 in the sense 2 5 over 3, we have to first identify where this is located. It is actually this is what we can say it as 2 5 over 3. If it is not familiar for you to get it with the radians, first you can convert it into degrees, and then you can have an idea regarding or getting value for this simply what we can say it as in the which quadrant. Therefore here what we can say is, here we can say that this is generally greater than 0. It is a positive value, but we have to identify whether it is now it is greater than 0, but it does not satisfy. It is because we have to now check whether it is actually greater than 5 over 2 or not. Therefore here it is 2 5 over 3. Then if you check the value, then it will be again greater than the 5 over 2 as well. It is because if it is not familiar in this way, you can just have an idea by converting it into degrees. Therefore 2 5 over 3 is equal to 120 degrees. Therefore it is greater than this 5 over 2. It is simply 90 degrees, and this will be less than the 5 radians, 5 over 2 radians. Therefore it is in between 5 over 2 radians and 5 radians. Therefore you will get this value as this, it is in the second quadrant. Therefore if you take about this 2 5 over 3 radians, then you will get it as the sine value of 2 5 over 3, cosine of 2 5 over 3, and the tangent of 2 5 over 3. Therefore since it is in the second quadrant, we know that only the sign is positive and all the others are being negative. Therefore this is how we are defining which trigonometric ratios become positive and which are becoming negative. As another example, if I take it as the if I take this as the uh, 3 5 over 2, if it is 3 5 over 2 radians, if I am asked to find out the sine of the sine 3 5 over 2, cosine 3 5 over 2, and tangent 3 5 over 2. In here first we have to identify where this is located. Therefore if you you can simply take this as this 3 5, uh, it is exactly on the line. I will discuss such one as later. First I will take the values actually in the middle of this, not on the line. Still we are discussing not the values on the line. Here I am not going to discuss anything on the value 90, 180 and 270 and thereafter 0. I will discuss it later, but so far I will discuss it with the values which are falling in these four regions. Therefore if I take another one, it is, I will take it as here I will take the value as it is 5 5 divided by 2 radians. 5 5 divided by 2 radians. Here I need to identify the value for sine 5 times 5 over 2, then cosine 5 times 5 over 2, and the tangent 5 times 5 over. Therefore, here we need to identify which has the positive sign, which has the negative sign. Here, if you are not familiar with the this what we can say as these fractions, we can convert it into decimals as well. Therefore, it is actually 2.5. Again, I will take this as 5 divided by 3 radians. 5 divided by 3 radians. Therefore, we need to identify it in this way. Okay, first we need to identify actually where this is located. 5 times 5 divided by 3 radians. If it is 5 times 5 divided by 3 radians, then here what we can consider is we can just have this 5 times 5 divided by 3 radians. You can have an idea just based on the uh, having the degrees, or else you can simply use these fractions. Therefore it is 5 times 5 divided by 3. Here we know that if it is quite like this, we getting 5 over 2 here, 5 here, then 3 5 over 2 here, 0 here, or else we'll get 2 5 here. we are getting 2 5. It is because starting from this point, if you are coming again back to the same point, then it completes 1 5, and then if you come here, it completes the value as 2 5. Therefore that is why we are getting 0 or 2 5, and if you need, you can go around furthermore as well, and we'll discuss those matters later. But this 5 times 5 divided by 3, it falls into the fourth quadrant. It is because this value is greater than 3 5 over 2, but it is less than 2 times 5 radians. Therefore it falls into the fourth quadrant. It is quite simply like this. You can have an idea here. You need to check whether where it is falling. Therefore you can say this, if you multiply the numerator and denominator by 3, you will simply get this as 9 times 5 over 6. This is equal to 9 times 5 over 6. But if you consider about this part, it will be 10 times 5 over 6. Now you can simply say that this is greater than 10 times 5 over 6 is greater than this quantity, and then here we'll get this as 2 5. 2 5 in the sense it is simply 12 5 divided by 6. Therefore using this concept again, we can say that it falls into the fourth quadrant. Since it is falling into the fourth quadrant, you know that only the cosine is positive, therefore sine will be negative, cosine will be positive, and tangent will be again negative. Therefore using the quadrant rule, you can easily identify the signs that they are getting for the values of the sine, cosine, and the tangent. Here the sine, it is this sign, it is whether it is positive or negative for the trigonometric ratios, sine, cosine, and tangent. And if I again just have a look about this quadrant rule, it is you will get the angles in this form. If I page here. Now, what I have mentioned as the quadrant rule, we have identified that it is quite in this way. You are having 4 quadrants, and you know that here we are starting always from 0. Then it goes to an angle as 5 divided by 2. So you will go it in this way around. Then it goes to 5 divided by 2. Then at this point you will get the value as 5, and here you will get this as 3 5 divided by 2, and here this one quadrant part is equal to 5 over 2. Therefore adding one another 5 over 2, here you will get this as 2 5. Then 2 5 plus 5 over 2, here you will get another value as 5 times 5 over 2. It is because now suppose that you are going it in this way around. Suppose that you are continuing it in here, and you have completed one round, and then you can again measure it in this way also. Therefore if you are continuing up it in this way, then here it is completed as 2 5. Here therefore it is completed as 2 5. Since it is completed by the previous one, it is 2 5. And now you have started new rotation. It is because you have already completed one round. Therefore you will get the value here as it is 5 times 5 divided by 2. It is because once you come to this point, now you have completed 2 5, then it is added to 5 over 2, gives the value as 5 times 5 divided by 2. Therefore, adding now another 5 divided by 2 has to be added. Then you will get here, once you come here, you will get the value as 3 times 5. Then once you come up to this point, then you will get it as 7 times 5 divided by 2, and then here you will get it as 4 times 5. Now you have completed one round, and if you go for another round, then it is quite like if you are starting from this point, and now you have again go for this point, and then you are coming up to here. Therefore, starting from this green pathway, then you can say this value is equal to, it is quite equal to 9 times 5 divided by 2. Then here you will get it as 5 times 5. Then here you will get it as 11 times 5 divided by 12, and here it will be equal to 6 times 5. Now you can see that there is somewhat a pattern here. Then 2, 4, 6, likewise you will get the values in this end. Therefore, the remaining values can be written as this. Then if you extend, then you will get at this 8, 5, 10, 5, 12, 3, 14, 5. Likewise, you will get the this even value with this 5 multiplication. You will get the values here. Then thereafter you will get, it is always it is going from 4 units. It is because altogether one unit is, once one cycle is completed, means that altogether 4 units has to be completed. Therefore, it is 1 5 over 2, 5 times 5 over 2, 9 5 over 2. Then you will get the values as 13 5 over 2. It is again 17 5 over 2. Then 21 5 over 2, 25 5 over 2, and here also we can have several others. Once you come up to this point, it is always with the odd values. It is 1 3 5. Then we can say the next values are 7 5, 9 5. It is 11 5, 13 5. Likewise, you will have these values. In here, you will get the remaining values in this way. Then here it is start from 3, then 7, 11. Then you will get it as 15 5 over 2. Then 19, 23, 27. Likewise, you will get the values. Therefore, this is how you are identifying the values on these lines. Therefore, generally we are starting from this point. We are considering it as the point 0, and then always you go in the anti-clockwise direction. Always you go with the anti-clockwise direction. Therefore, this is the quadrant rule. And then if you move for the next part, here it is given as all the necessary details. So now discuss. We have finished the quadrant rule as well. Therefore, now we'll move for the next part. Here we have finished the quotient to identities as well. Now we will discuss about the odd even identities. This will be helpful when you are going for the calculations. Therefore, if you are having the sine minus theta, then you can convert it into the minus sine theta. Therefore, if you just ask to obtain the value, for simply think about, if you just ask to, you know that here if you are considering sine 5 over 6, you know that value is exactly equal to half. But once you need to obtain the value of the sine minus 5 over 6, sine minus 5 over 6, then you can say according to the theory, it says that sine minus theta is equal to minus sine theta. Using this odd even concept or the odd even identities, then we can say this as the it is equal to minus times sine phi over 6. Now you know that sine phi over 6 equals to half. Therefore, this will be equal to minus times half, and you will get it as minus half. Now, if you think about this angle, sine minus phi over 6, if you consider about the quadrant it falls into here, it is if it is plus phi over 6, it will be in this direction, but here it is quite given as minus phi over 6. In this way, since it is in the anti-clockwise direction, here we are considering it as plus, but if it is measured in the clockwise direction, we are saying the angle is minus. Therefore, here instead of this plus phi over 6, we are having sine minus phi over 6. The sine minus phi over 6, we can write it is, we can say that it falls into the fourth quadrant. Therefore, in the fourth quadrant, we know that cosine is the positive and all the other values are zero. Therefore, it is now proven that if here we are getting sine minus phi over 6 as the minus half. But if you consider about this value, suppose that if you are having the cosine phi over 6, cosine phi over 6 is equal to half. Cosine phi over 5 over 6, it is equal to root 3 divided by 2. But if you consider about the cosine minus 5 over 6, what we can get is here also we can say that it is 5 over 6 means it is falls into the fourth quadrant. Therefore, we know that for the fourth quadrant, we can say that only the cosine is positive. Therefore, what we can say is we can say that this is equal to cosine 5 over 6. Here we can simply omit this cosine, this minus sign. It is because it falls into the fourth quadrant. Therefore, if you are defining this concept for the cosines, here it is the sine minus theta, it equals to minus sine theta. But if you consider about the cosine minus theta, it will be simply say that it is equal to cosine theta. Therefore, if you look about the identity it is given, now this even odd identities, here we can get it as sine minus theta is equal to minus sine theta, as well as cosine minus theta is equal to cosine theta. Therefore, this is how we are identifying and obtaining these even odd identities. Now, this is given as a theory, but if you consider about this quadrant rule, now you can prove that all these values are same, and we can get it as the similar values. Therefore, if you it is not only for this first and third quadrant, but if you consider about the any other quadrants, it is maybe first, second, third or fourth quadrant, you will get it as the same method. Therefore, this rule is valid for any quadrant you are having the angle. It is here we are getting it as the sine minus theta. If the angle is measured in the clockwise direction, it is negative. Therefore, we will get it as sine minus theta. Therefore, it will be equal to minus times sine theta, where theta has measured in the anti-clockwise direction. And if you consider it for the cosine minus theta, then it will be equal to cosine theta. Now we'll move for the next one. It is the Pythagorean identities. Pythagorean identities, here this will be considered as the Pythagorean identities. Here it is sine squared theta is equal to cosine squared theta is equal to 1, and based on this concept we can obtain the other two Pythagorean identities as well. Okay, now we'll see how we can obtain these Pythagorean identities. And if you consider about obtaining the Pythagorean identities, here what we are getting is if you are considering the right angle triangle, if this is the angle theta, and if I name the sides as this is the opposite side, this is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse we are having. But apart from this taking the trigonometric ratios, what we know according to the Pythagoras law, we know that O squared is equal plus A squared is equal to H squared. O squared plus A squared is equal to H squared, and this is based on the Pythagoras theorem. Therefore, it is quite say that if you are drawing a square on the hypotenuse, the area of the square on the hypotenuse will be equal to the addition of the areas of the squares made on the opposite side and the adjacent side. Therefore, what I can do based on this Pythagoras theorem, what I am going to do here is I am going to divide all these terms by h squared. Here I am going to divide all these terms by h squared. Therefore, I will get this as O squared divided by x squared plus A squared divided by x squared equals h squared divided by h squared. But square term divided by square term, I can take it into a single bracket. Therefore, I will get it as O divided by h squared plus, here I will get A divided by h squared plus h squared divided by h squared. Then I will get this value as 1. Then instead of this O divided by H, it is the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Therefore, instead of this ratio O divided by H, what we have defined here was, instead of O divided by H, now you can use this trigonometric ratio as sine theta. Therefore, instead of this O divided by H, I will use it as sine theta. And here I have to consider its square term. Then I have to consider this A divided by H. If you consider A divided by H, it is the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. Then this will be equals to cosine theta, and now I am taking its square term. Therefore, if you consider about this square term, then you can convert it into this way. Here you will get it as sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Therefore, you will get this as sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Therefore, this is what we are considered as the Pythagorean identity. But apart from this Pythagorean identity, you can obtain the values for these values as the 1 divided 1 plus tan squared theta as squared theta, and 1 plus cot squared theta is the cosec squared theta. Therefore, now we'll see how we can obtain these two Pythagorean identities as well. Now, what we are having here is, what we know is sine squared theta what we know here is, we are having now sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Here first I will try to prove this part. I will try to prove about this sec squared theta. Therefore, what I need to obtain here is the sec squared theta. Therefore, what I am trying to do is, I am trying to divide all these by cos squared theta. If I am dividing all these by cos squared theta, then what I can do is, I can take this into a single division and then take the square term. Then I can take it as sine theta divided by the cosine theta and square term plus cos square theta divided by cos square theta. It is 1. Then here it is 1 over cos square theta. Here we can, if you need, you can take it as 1 square. It does not make any harm. It is because the square term of 1 is equal to 1. Therefore, we will take it as 1 over cos theta. Therefore, if you take these ratios, sine over cosine, it is taken as the tan square theta. Then plus 1 is here. 1 over cos theta is equal to sec and its square term has to be considered. Therefore, here you can say that here I have taken this 1 as the first term. Therefore, I can rearrange the terms accordingly. Therefore, I can take it as 1 plus tan squared theta is equal to sec squared theta. This is also derived based on the Pythagorean identity. And again, using this concept, I can try to obtain another equation. What we know here is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Therefore, in the previous one, we have divided all these terms by cos squared theta. Now I'll try to divide all this by sine squared theta. If I divide all these by sine squared theta, I will get for the first one it is sine squared theta divided by sine squared theta, cancel out and it gives as 1. Then for the next part it is the cosine theta divided by the sine theta and its square term is considered. Then you will get it as then for the next one it is 1 divided by sine squared theta. You can rearrange this as 1 over sine theta and then the square term. Therefore, you can do the calculation. It is 1 plus cosine over sine. It is cot, then square theta. Then this is equal to 1 over sine theta. It is cosec, but you have to consider it square term. Then it is equal to cosec square theta. Therefore, we can rearrange these terms. It is 1 plus cot square theta is equal to cosec square theta. Therefore, these can be considered as the Pythagorean identities. Therefore, if I summarize all these three equations in a single place, what we have obtained most as the Pythagorean identities. What we have obtained most, first we have obtained that sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Then 1 plus tan squared theta is equal to sec squared theta. Then 1 plus cot squared theta is equal to cosec squared theta. Therefore, this is what we have so far obtained as the Pythagorean identities. But when we are going for the calculation, sometimes we may say this sec squared theta minus tan squared theta equals 1, or else this cosec squared theta minus cot squared theta is equal to sometimes we use this as well. Instead using these two equations, we can subject the one in the right hand side, and you can do such alterations to this the laterally mentioned two equations. Therefore, this is how we are obtaining the Pythagorean identities. Now we will move for the next one. Now we have finished the discussion of the Pythagorean identities as well. And then we will now move for the co-function identities. The co-function identities, we can say that if you are having sine theta, now suppose that you need to convert this function into a cosine function. Therefore, instead of using sine, if you wish to convert into a cosine, then we can use this concept. Suppose that you are having sine theta, then if you need to change the sine into a cosine, what you can do is you can change the angle by phi divided by 2. Therefore, you can take it as phi divided by 2 minus theta times cosine will be given as the sine theta. And thereafter, if you consider about this cosine, then it will be same as this. Then we can say, if you take this as cosine, if it is cosine theta, and if you need to take it as sine, then we can take it as sine phi divided by 2 minus theta. Then if you are having the tangent, then tangent theta is equal to cot phi divided by 2 minus theta. Therefore, we can use these identities as well if you need to change your what we are saying as this trigonometric ratio. Sine. Sometimes you need it is because if you are going for some trigonometric proof of the proving of the identities, need these you may need these equations for such calculation. Therefore, uh, we have now discussed about the co-function identities, and here I have just discussed it for the sine, cosine, and tangent only, but you can refer for the cosec, sec, and cot theta. Therefore, this is how we are getting the co-function identities for cosec, sec, and cot. Therefore, if you are considering the cosec theta, it is equal to sec phi over 2 minus theta, and sec theta is equal to cosec phi over 2 minus theta, and cot theta is equal to tan phi over 2 minus theta. Therefore, this is how you are defining the co-function identities. And this is all what I need to discuss for this session, and thank you all for participating with this session.